So Coach Enos told us, I guess, no QB decision until the fall. Was that something that was kind of expected anyway, just based on getting the whole summer to know? Or?
Remember when we talked about it a couple weeks ago, we said if it was obvious, we'd do it. But what's become obvious is they're all improving, but there's no way they just have enough at-bats where somebody can, jump out in front of the pack to, and partly that is because they're all competing, and I think their level of play is improving for all those guys. So what we think will be the key is this building, when no one's watching, in June and July, and when they bring the team in here, without coaches, and just the repetition of going through these past concepts and running these plays, because when we get to August, really it's not even August, when we get to the last week of July when we report for training camp, it'll probably be a week, 2 weeks, and then we'll have to pick a football team and move on.
Where are you guys in terms of offensive line? Coach, you talked about wanting to find 5 guys. Are you any closer than you were at the start of spring? You've had obviously guys dinged up and so forth, but do you feel like there's progress being made?
Absolutely. The overall story of the offensive line is the word is improvement. Every individual guy has made in my mind, a significant leap from where they were a year ago. Now, when we get to the fall and we get all of our guys back and healthy, then you try to, we've had a chance to see what everybody can do. We just try to put them in the right positions to succeed. Devon Donaldson's made big growths. Kylie Herbert's made big growth. DJ Scaife has made a big growth. Jonathan Campbell's getting better. Zalante Hillary's getting better. We've got some guys, and that's not Cleveland Reed is improving. That's not a comprehensive list. But I can't think of a guy that we're like, oh yeah, that guy's gone backwards. I think all of it. And part of this is their youth, right? Look, they were young last year. We were young on the offensive line last year. It's hard to be young at that position. So those guys are growing up a little bit, but I think they're enjoying the things that Coach Barry is teaching them. I think they're enjoying a little bit of the way that, in my mind, there's some scheme-friendly things for the offensive line in this offense that allows those guys to compete and play hard. And they'll be under the same thing. They'll have to come out here in the summertime, and we can't be teaching the same things in August 1st that we're teaching now on April 16th. It has to be much more advanced when we come back.
Manny, when you look at just obviously we've talked about the depth that you're dealing with at some positions. I mean, how creative do you have to get this week? And we saw Patrick with the linebackers. Is that a permanent move, do you expect, or is it just kind of to get through spring? What are you thinking there?
With Joyner, we recruited him to do both. Mm-hmm. That was one of the things that he really liked about his opportunity to come here in Miami. We don't know. That'll probably depend on what we find out from, in terms of who we have. Obviously, getting Zach McLeod will be a huge boost as well for the linebacker room, and he'll have the ability to play inside linebacker for us this year. Probably featured all 3 spots. Wouldn't surprise me. So, but those are decisions that we'll make when we find out who we have. We do have some guys that have some positional flexibility on the team, and so we'll just like anything else, you'll find the best way to deploy them.
For the scrimmage coming up, what exactly are you looking for? It's your last chance, and it's at Camping World too. So
yeah, the setup will be very similar to what we've done the last 2 weeks, where we'll play a little bit of a mini game. We're trying to just introduce our guys into game situations as much as possible. So today we had a film study, and we talk about end to half situation. We talk about what happened on the last play of the game, and just those are things that if you just have a normal play count scrimmage, you don't get those things organically. So we'll try to create the same thing. The only thing that we add this week is now we add a road trip. So this is the first time that we're going to be, in the hotel with Coach Enos or Coach Baker and how we do things. And we're going to get dressed in the same locker room we're going to be dressed in August, and we're going to be on the same sideline as opposed to what we were last week, and try to create as much as that game day feel. We know it's going to ramp up to 11 on August 24th, but at least we'll have been there and taken a few cuts in the on deck circle.
Do you hope to, as far as the quarterbacks go? I know you tried to keep them somewhat even as far as snaps go, and you say you're not ready to make a decision. Are you going to try to do the same kind of thing?
Oh yeah, I think so. Yeah, because where are we? Like right now, like everyone again, and I get it. We all want to rank and assess or whatever, but like no one right now is ready to play. So it doesn't even matter what the ranking is right now, right? It's like tasting the food before it's out of the oven. Like it doesn't matter what it looks like right now. It's not ready yet. So to me, how do you get better? Reps. Well, you got to make sure that everybody gets reps.
Okay, thanks.
Specifically with the offense, the scrimmage, the red zone, not converting touchdowns.
Yep.
What would you kind of notice was an overlying thing?
There was a lot of different things down there. Most of it came down to sometimes just making simple throws and catches. I mean, those guys that were, that were kind of available and open. And I think that just comes down to the first time we didn't get in the red zone a lot the scrimmage prior in Columbus. So it's just that same thing. People in the stands, maybe I'm a little bit more juiced than I am when we're practicing, on the practice field, and being able to make those type plays. So, and it was no different defensively, because defensively, trust me, we cut guys loose, and we were not at our best down there. But we talked about, again, that's one of our pillars on how to win the game. And our, there was some unevenness in terms of our red zone play. We came out here and repped some of it today.
Manny, I know there's things close to ending. You obviously want to praise all the guys who improved, but are there guys in particular that you guys look at and say he's really taken a giant leap from the end of last season to now? Maybe camp MVP types,
Camp MVPs, but you're definitely, a lot of times it's going to happen with the guys that are just going into their second year on campus. That, again, we all want to label them and stamp them from what they are. This is college football is not just, add water, player appears, right? I mean, you have to develop these guys. So, offensively, again, when you see what, Realist George, the way he's improved at fullback, when you see, we talked about some of the offensive line, you see, we've talked about Mark Pope over the past few weeks. Defensively, we've talked about Gilbert Frierson and the jump that he's made, the jump that Silvera's made inside. And again, I'm naming a lot of guys. This would be your expectation, right? This is their first real true spring on campus. Corbin Hall in the back end, DJ Ivy at corner. So I don't know that there's a guy on the roster that we're like, oh man, this guy went backwards this spring. But it's been nice to see a jump from some of those guys in year two to get to the point where we think they can go and play for us and not have a drop off from where we're supposed to take them.
In the format of the scrimmage, you said this is going to be offense versus defense, not like white versus orange or anything like that?
It'll be a game very similar to what we've been. And you'll see why, because of our depth at some positions, we can't, you have three tight ends, you can't cut your three tight ends in half, right? So we have guys will be, there'll be an offense versus defense. We'll figure out some way to make it a score. Final will be 199. You know what I mean? So you can already go ahead and get your lead written in the story. So.
Hey, Manny, the draft. This is off the subject, but the draft is coming up. I know you're the head coach. How much do you stay in tune with that, and do you watch it? What's your
Yeah, I mean, we'll all have close attention to where the guys are taken and where the guys that we went against are taken. I mean, you're obviously going to be rooting for your guys. But more than anything, you're really rooting for them to find a home where they really fit in, where they can excel. It's fun to talk about the guys that are picked at the front of the draft, but sometimes the best thing you can coach is develop the heck out of a guy, and a guy that maybe wasn't, again, the Adrian Colbert story from a couple years ago, a guy that was almost out of football, ends up a 7th round pick, makes a team. We've had non-drafted free agents make the team. Trent Harris last year got a Super Bowl ring. You know what I mean? So you're as proud. It's fun in recruiting to talk about the first rounders that you've coached, and that's fun. But when you get the guy that makes the league as a non-drafted free agent, that maybe you got him into that position or helped him get to that position, a small part of it, that's really rewarding.
Thanks, everybody.
Okay.